Everyone is searching for heaven, a state of unending joy. Some chase it in pleasure, through sex, drugs, the thrill after thrill. Others chase it in wealth, trying to buy every moment of happiness. Some use power, believing control will finally make that feeling stay. Philosopher looks inward, monk disciplines his mind, king controls minds of others, and the utopians try to build it. But for all our efforts, heaven keeps slipping away. So how do we actually find a path to the better life? What does the data say? From Gallup to Harvard, to new Pew Research, to World Value Survey, the data all points in the same direction. Those who live spiritual/religious lives tend to be significantly happier. Therefore, maybe religion isn't just an old tradition or superstition. Maybe it's one of humanity's most consistent, evidence-based paths to a flourishing life. Gallup Research conducted a series of in-depth studies on the effects of religion on well-being. They discovered that the very religious rate their lives more positive, are less likely to ever have been diagnosed with depression, and experience fewer daily negative emotions. But it's not merely religious identity that makes the difference. Those who actively engage in their faith, regular attendance at services, report the greatest happiness. As Gallup summarized, weekly religious service attenders are in fact more likely to say they are very satisfied than those who make $100,000 or more in annual household income. Therefore, these findings suggest that religion can have a profound and measurable impact on people's emotional and psychological well-being. Studies by Pew Research Center found similar results. They found that participation in a religious community clearly is linked with higher levels of happiness and civil engagement. But that was not all. Pew also found that the very happy people were significantly more likely to be religious. Whatever the explanation may be, more than 1/3 of actively religious US adults, 36%, described themselves as very happy, compared to just 1/4 of both inactive or unaffiliated Americans. Therefore, this adds to the growing body of evidence that's showing that religion is more than just an identity. It shapes well-being. Researchers at Time set out on a quest to see what made people happy. But to their surprise, they discovered that scientists have found again and again that those with a spiritual practice or who follow religious beliefs tend to be happier than those who don't. Study after study has found that religious people tend to be less depressed and less anxious than non-believers. They're better able to handle the vicissitudes of life than non-believers also. It was not what they were expecting to find, but they found it all the same. Now, perhaps I'm just cherry-picking the metadata to suit my argument. Nope. Looking at numerous published peer-reviewed studies on the metadata show the same trend. A review of 3,300 studies published in peer-reviewed journals between 1872 and 2010, conducted by Harold G. Koenig, concluded that a large volume of research shows that people who are more religious/spiritual have better mental health and adapt more quickly to health problems, compared to those who are less spiritual/religious. These possible benefits to mental health and well-being have psychological consequences that impact physical health, affect the risk of disease, and influence response to treatment. A systematic review of 850 studies out of Brazil concluded that the majority of well-conducted studies found that higher levels of religious involvement are positively associated with indicators of psychological well-being, life satisfaction, happiness, positive effects, and high morale, and with less depression, suicidal thoughts, and behaviors such as drug, alcohol abuse, use. A review of 444 studies over the last 50 years between 1962 and 2011 shows religious involvement has been associated with positive emotions such as greater life satisfaction, well-being, hope, optimism, and meaning and purpose in life. Feelings which help to neutralize the negative emotions that underlie depression and suicide. They concluded that the systematic review discussed above indicates many more studies show positive benefit from religious/spiritual compared to those who show positive harm, 61 versus 6% of studies. Metadata agrees, religion is good for well-being. Now, some keen viewers may be wondering, is it possible that the benefits we see from religion involvement are actually attributed to other factors, like age, wealth, or communal engagement? Nope. New research generally reports that even after advanced statistical analysis, controlling for age, gender, education, income, and marital status, being more religious is associated with greater likelihood of being very happy, belonging to a non-religious organization, always voting, drinking infrequently, and not smoking. But what about controlling for community involvement? Maybe the benefits we see are just due to the pro-social benefits of being part of a group. 2015 survey by the researchers at the London School of Economics and the Erasmus University Medical Center in the Netherlands found that participation in a religious organization was the only social activity associated with sustained happiness, even more than volunteering for a charity, taking educational courses, or participating in a political or community organization. It's as if a sense of spirituality and an active social religious practice were an effective vaccine against the virus of unhappiness. Therefore, it would appear that the spiritual/religious development is a powerful tool for achieving fulfillment for its own sake and not because of external factors. Spiritual/religious development appears to lead to more healthy societies. Those who are religious appear to have better health, live longer, and have better health outcomes. Using data collected from a number of years, researchers examined spiritual religion mortality. Results of these studies indicated high levels of religious involvement are associated with lower rates of death by specific causes including circulatory disease, digestive disease, respiratory disease, and all causes combined. Additionally, wide ranges of other chronic diseases were inversely correlated with attendance of a religious event. Results indicate that for women, the protective effects of weekly attendance at a religious event was strong and fell roughly between never smoking cigarettes and regular physical activity. New research found similar results. Actively religious Americans are more likely than the unaffiliated to report very good health, even after advanced statistical analysis controlled for age, education, and other demographic factors. Also, religious affiliation is one of the best predictors of healthy demographics in a country, with those who are religious having more kids than those who are not. As you can see, religion would appear to be an important part of a healthy, flourishing society. Now, correlation does not necessarily mean causation, but in this case, there's probably good reason to suspect that the spiritual development and happiness are causally connected. Since the 1990s, religion has been steadily declining. But what about happiness? If the two trends are linked, decline in one should appear in the other. And this is exactly what we see. In the United States, since the 1990s, happiness and mental health has drastically declined. This trend is especially pronounced among the youth. The Harvard Flourishing Study found that most of the countries that report high overall composition flourishing may not have been rich in economic terms, but they tend to be rich in friendship, marriage, and community involvement, especially involvement in religious communities. Religion is not the only path to happiness, but as you can see, it is one of the most reliable and consistent paths to happiness across time, culture, and circumstance. Thanks for your time. May God bless you and your family.